Okay, so the process we're covering here is GMAW, gas metal arc welding. It's also commonly known as MIG or wire feed welding. Biggest thing on here is setting up the machine. Number one is our gas tank on here. We're running a CO2 mix on this tank. You turn the tank on right here, spin it clockwise, open it up. Our tank pressure gauge is right here. You notice that gauge didn't move at all. It means our tank's getting pretty low. Usually it's up somewhere around about 2,000 on there. So I'll have to get that replaced sometime soon. This is our line pressure over here. Line pressure you want at 20 CFH. That's cubic feet per hour. And I'm going to just turn this in a little bit, get it right about 20. Doesn't need to be exactly at 20, no, as long as it's somewhere in that range. Alright? On our machine here, we've got a couple of leads that come off of it. Notice how they're coiled up on here, nice big loops. That's important to do. Inside of this MIG gun is a liner that looks like this. See that? And at the end of the block, if you wrap this thing up and it's really tight, you're going to kink that thing. The wire's not going to run through the MIG gun real smoothly. So two leads. One is our ground. The ground cable needs to get connected to your workpiece or a metal bench that you're welding on. Alright? And then we've got our MIG gun right here. The MIG gun, it's got a trigger on it, and there's some wire sticking out of the end. And so what will happen when you turn the machine on, when you hit the trigger, the wire comes spooling out of the MIG gun itself. When it hits the metal, it'll strike an arc to begin the weld for you. And gas comes out of here as well at the same exact time. The gas is protecting the molten pool of metal from impurities in the air. And so if you weld without the gas on, you're going to notice it right away. It's going to be all black, there's going to be a bunch of holes inside your weld, and it's not going to look real good. Alright? On the machine itself, come on in and take a close look at this. Our settings on here are kind of important. On and off are right here. That turns the machine on. I'll tell you right now, once in a while on this particular machine, it'll trip the breaker. Alright, the electrical system isn't built quite heavy enough for it. The breakers are down on the panel down here. So if you're turning off and on and it's plugged in, it's not going, just let me know, I'll turn the breaker back on. Two main adjustments, our wire speed and our temperature. They've got to work together. If our wire speed is really high and the wire's coming out fast, our temperature is too low, the wire's going to be pushing on the metal as you're trying to do a weld. If the wire speed's really slow and our temperature is really high, the wire's going to get melted back inside the MIG gun. You're going to have a problem. If you ever by accident do that, or by accident weld the wire to the tip of the gun, don't keep hitting the trigger. There's a spool of wire in here that's kind of like the fishing reel, and if you keep hitting the trigger when the wire's welded to the tip, the spool keeps spinning, and you get a big rat's nest in there. So if it happens, no big deal, just stop what you're doing, let me know, I'll come and help you get it fixed. So back to our settings on here, these machines are called auto set machines. If you look on here, it asks you what your wire speed should be, or you can just say what thickness of wire you have. So we're using a 30 thousandths diameter wire, you just leave it there. Down here for our temperature, it asks how thick your material is. That piece of material there is about 1/8 inch thick. Well, 0.125 as we learned yesterday, right? And so 1/8 inch thick stuff, right here says 1/8 inch, all the way down at the end. Turn my two dials, good to go. Any questions on that? Alright, so getting set up to make a weld. A couple things we need to look for. Number one, our wire. You only want it sticking out about 1/8 to 1/4 inch from the MIG gun at all times. About like that. And these work really well for cutting those off. Make sure the nozzle's clean. These pliers are designed just for MIG welding. They're tapered on here. You can slide that inside the nozzle of the gun and clean off all that spatter that's built up in there from other people using the welder. If too much spatter builds up, not enough gas comes out. And then you get impurities in the air in your weld cooler. That slides back on. Next thing, before I make a weld, the first weld you're going to do is just running a bead. Is getting steady. 90% of what welders do is positioning and getting prepared to do the weld. So I'm going to sit here like this. To get steady, I'm going to lean on my thigh like that. I'm going to have my hand here like this. I'm going to hold the MIG gun 90 degrees this way, 5 to 15 this way. And I'm going to hold it about 1/8 to 1/4 inch off, just like that. I'll probably even rest, I don't know if this one goes up or not, I'll probably even rest my hand on here, put the MIG gun there like that to get nice and steady. See that? If you stand out here, out in the middle of the room like this to try to weld, are you going to do a nice neat job? No. You're just too shaky. It's like taking a Sharpie, trying to draw a perfectly straight line. It's not easy to do. You've got to brace yourself somehow. So get set up, get positioned right before you do your weld. Once I go to do my weld, I'm in position, I'm nice and steady, and I'm comfortable. All I'm going to do is hold like this. I'm going to pull the trigger. When I pull the trigger, I'm going to let a molten pool of metal build. Once that molten pool of metal builds on my plate, I'm going to leave the wire in it, and I'm just going to drag it along. And I'm going to drag it back a little bit and push. Drag it back a little bit and push forward. Drag it back and push forward. Alright? And I'll go about maybe 2 inches for a practice weld. Then I'll stop my weld. We'll lift my helmet up, assess how it went, see how it looks, see if I need to make any adjustments to it. Any questions on that? Again, proper gear on, right? I got long sleeves on, I've got gloves on, I got closed-toed leather boots on. Nothing's going to start on fire. We're pretty safe. All right. We'll do a quick demonstration. I want you to come in close so you can see what we're doing. Make sure your helmets aren't on grind mode. You already checked that, I hope? We good? Okay, here we go. Hood's down. And there we go. Decent looking weld. Was everybody, you were able to see that? Yeah? You guys were all able to see that? Questions? No. I'm welding on the middle, so it doesn't really matter, but yeah. You should definitely have the vent fans on when you're welding. You got 7 people welding at one time, it does create some fumes, no doubt. Alright, any other questions? Okay. Send the other group out.